All right, so you wanted to get under the skin of Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole bunch of great material to dig into here.
We do.
So think of this as kind of a crash course on Boston.
Like an instant download into what makes this city tick.
From its history,
Yeah.
way back to its really kind of vibrant energy today.
Exactly. What we're looking at with Boston is a city that is both deeply rooted in history, but also a place that's really pushing the boundaries. It's a city of landmarks, but also these incredible universities, and you just feel this local spirit there.
Yeah.
There's a definite Boston attitude.
Okay, so let's break down kind of the main things we're going to hit today. We're going to talk about the American Revolution, obviously, like Boston's role in that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the universities there. We're going to talk about sports, because Boston's a big sports town.
Huge.
And we're going to talk about the food.
Always got to talk about the food.
Always got to talk about the food.
Especially in a city like Boston. And I think what's going to be fascinating as we go through this is how these different things are all kind of connected.
Yeah.
So that same energy that, fueled the revolution, you can still see it today in the universities and in the sports teams.
Yeah.
It's really kind of woven into the DNA of the city.
Okay, so let's start right at the very beginning. Boston and the American Revolution. You can't talk about the American Revolution without talking about Boston.
Absolutely not. I mean, Boston was right at the heart of it all.
Yeah.
And there are so many reasons why. I think one thing to consider is the kind of socio-political climate of Boston at the time.
Okay.
You had this growing sense of injustice, but you also had this strong tradition of town hall meetings where people would, debate and organize.
Right.
So it was almost like the perfect breeding ground for revolution. It was ready for it.
And we're talking about some pretty iconic events that happened there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Boston Tea Party, that was a pretty bold move.
Gold. Throwing all that tea into the harbor, it was a real statement.
Yeah. And then the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Showing that, these colonists were serious.
And that they're willing to fight.
Yeah. And then you have, the Paul Revere ride.
That midnight ride. The British are coming.
Yeah. Which is still so, dramatic and memorable.
Like one of those stories that just sticks with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And what's amazing is you can still kind of experience a lot of these events in Boston today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have this thing called the Freedom Trail.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's this red brick path that connects 16 different historic sites.
Oh, wow.
So you can walk in the footsteps of these revolutionaries.
Oh, cool.
You can see the old Stitt House where they debated independence. You can stand in Faneuil Hall where they had all these meetings.
Yeah.
You can even see the house where Paul Revere lived.
Wow.
And, set off on his ride.
That is so cool.
And if you want to really get hands-on, there's the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum.
Oh, yeah?
Where you can actually throw tea into the harbor.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So you can channel your inner revolutionary.
That's a fun way to, really understand the history.
Totally. It makes it come alive.
All right, so speaking of history, we have to talk about the universities in Boston.
Oh, yes.
Harvard.
The granddaddy of them all.
The granddaddy of them all. Founded in 1636.
1636. That's ancient for America.
Right.
And, Harvard has had such an impact on American thought and culture.
Totally.
I mean, just think about its influence on early American law and theology. It really shaped intellectual discourse in the country.
Yeah.
And it's still considered one of the top universities in the world.
Yeah. And then you have MIT.
Oh, MIT. Across the river in Cambridge.
Yeah.
A global powerhouse of science and technology.
And just a total hub for innovation.
Like a magnet for brilliant minds.
Yeah.
And if you think about all the amazing research that happens there, in fields like computer science and biotechnology.
Right.
It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
This little corner of the world is constantly pushing the boundaries of human knowledge.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about something Bostonians are super passionate about.
Are you talking about sports?
I am talking about sport.
Because let me tell you, Boston takes its sports seriously.
It's not just a hobby.
It's part of their identity.
Yeah.
Boston fans are known for being some of the most diehard fans in the world.
Yeah, they're loyal.
They're knowledgeable.
They are.
And boy, are they passionate. They're there for the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
It's more than just cheering for a team. It's like being part of a tribe.
It's a community.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about the Red Sox.
America's pastime.
The Celtics.
On the hardwood.
The Bruins
On the ice.
and the Patriots.
On the gridiron.
These are big teams.
Huge.
And they really mean a lot to the city, right?
They provide a shared narrative for the city. It's something that brings people together. It's
Yeah.
a source of pride and even sometimes heartbreak.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always intense.
Okay, so I have to ask you about Fenway Park,
Oh,
the
Fenway.
oldest baseball stadium in the country.
It's practically a national treasure.
Yeah, it is.
It's a living museum of baseball history.
Yeah. What's it like to see a game there?
It's an experience. The green monster looming over the field.
Yeah.
The energy from the crowd. It's
Mm.
like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
And, I don't even think you have to be a huge baseball fan to appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you have to do if you're in Boston.
Will. And what about that Sweet Caroline thing?
Oh, yeah. In the 8th inning,
Everyone sings along,
it's
right?
a whole stadium.
Right.
It's this moment of pure joy and unity. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you are.
Wow.
Everyone comes together for that song.
That's so cool.
It really is.
Okay. And speaking of events that capture the spirit of Boston,
Mm-hmm.
we have to talk about the Boston Marathon.
One of the most famous marathons in the world.
Yeah.
And Marathon Monday is like a citywide holiday.
Really?
Everyone comes out to cheer on the runners.
Wow.
And the energy, especially near the finish line on Boylston Street,
I bet.
it's electric. It's really inspiring to see.
Like the whole city comes together to support these athletes.
It really is. And it's about more than just running,
Yeah.
It's about resilience and community and pushing yourself to the limit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a powerful symbol for the city.
Okay, I think all that talk about running has made me hungry.
Me too.
Let's talk about the food.
Let's eat.
I mean, Boston has some pretty classic New England food, right?
Oh, yeah. Boston's food scene is amazing. It's got something for everyone.
Mm.
But there are definitely some must-try dishes.
Like what?
Well, first and foremost, you have to try a lobster roll.
Right.
It's the quintessential New England experience. And there are two main styles. Connecticut style, which is warm with butter,
Okay.
and Maine style, which is cold with mayonnaise.
So which one is better?
That's the eternal debate. Honestly, they're both delicious.
Yeah.
It just depends on your preference.
I think I'd have to try both, just to be sure.
Exactly. You can't go wrong either way.
Okay, what else?
Oh, we can't forget about Boston clam chowder.
Oh, yeah, that's the really thick, creamy one.
It's thick, creamy, and so comforting, especially on a cold day.
Yeah,
And it's got this interesting history.
really?
Yeah, it started out as this really simple, hearty meal,
Okay.
really affordable for working class people.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, it's evolved into this beloved regional specialty.
Wow.
It's a real taste of Boston.
Okay, I have to share this little fun fact that I learned.
All right, what is it?
Boston cream pie
Mm-hmm.
is actually a cake.
Haha, it is.
It's not a pie.
A bit of a misnomer there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's delicious nonetheless.
Yeah.
It's this light and buttery cake filled with custard and topped with chocolate glaze.
Yeah.
A true Boston original.
Okay, and if you have a sweet tooth,
Uh-uh.
you got to go to Mike's Pastry in the North End.
Yeah, Mike's Pastry. Their cannolis are legendary.
Really?
Oh, yeah. People line up down the street for them.
Wow.
They're worth the wait.
Yep.
And speaking of the North End,
Yeah.
that's Boston's Little Italy.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're an Italian food lover,
Mhm.
that's the place to be.
Yeah.
It's this vibrant, historic neighborhood with all these amazing restaurants.
It sounds like a feast for the senses.
It is. You can practically smell the garlic and basil in the air.
Yeah.
It's a real treat.
Okay, so beyond like the specific landmarks in the food,
Right.
what's the overall vibe of Boston like?
Well, one of the things I love about Boston is that it's very walkable.
Oh, yeah.
You can easily walk from downtown to the waterfront to Back Bay. It's a
Yeah.
great way to get a feel for the city. And each neighborhood has its own distinct personality.
Okay, like what?
You have Beacon Hill with its charming cobblestone streets and gas lamps.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Seaport District, which is really modern and sleek.
Okay.
And then you have places like Jamaica Plain, which are a bit more artsy and bohemian.
Cool. So it's a really diverse city.
Absolutely. It's a city of contrasts, but in a way that all kind of works together.
Yeah.
And it's a big city. It definitely has that big city energy,
Mm-hmm.
but it also has a surprisingly strong sense of community.
Okay.
It's like a big city with a small town heart.
I like that.
And Bostonians themselves, they're known for being friendly, but also direct.
Oh, yeah.
They tell it like it is.
Yeah.
They value honesty and street talk.
So no sugarcoating?
Nope. What you see is what you get.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And,
What?
we can't talk about Boston without mentioning Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. I mean, it's practically the city's official drink.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
They say Boston runs on Dunkin'. And it's true. You see a Dunkin' on practically every corner.
Yeah.
It's a real part of the city's fabric.
Yeah.
It's where people grab their coffee, meet up with friends.
Yeah.
It's a real social hub.
Yeah, it's like a Boston institution.
It really is.
Okay, so we've talked about the history, the universities, the sports, the food, the vibe.
I think we've covered it all.
It sounds like an amazing city.
It is. It really is.
It's like a place that really successfully blends so many different things together.
I think that's a good way to put it. You know, you have this really strong connection to the past.
Yeah.
But also this drive towards the future. And there's just this real sense of pride in being a Bostonian.
Yeah.
So it makes you think,
About what?
how do cities hold on to their past while still moving forward?
That's a good question.
And what about you? What's the thing about Boston that really stands out to you?
That's a good question.
Is it the history, the universities, the sports, the food? What resonates with you the most? And what does that tell you about yourself? What do you value in a city or a community?
That's something to think about.
It is.
Okay, well, if all of this has gotten you thinking about Boston,
Yeah.
there are a couple of things you can do.
Like what?
You can dive deeper into the history, like those 16 stops on the Freedom Trail.
That would be a great way to spend a day.
Or you can look into the amazing research being done at Harvard and MIT.
Yeah, there's always something new and exciting happening there.
So many options.
So many ways to experience Boston.
All right, well, thanks for joining us on this little journey through Boston.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
Until next time.
See you later.